What is cooking, people? Jordan, my pal, how's it going, fam?
What's up, Elena? Thanks for joining and partnering again on Amazon Live. How you doing?
Uh, it's so great to be with you virtually. Thank you to everyone who is joining us right now. We are currently live at our respective homes, and we're going to be showing you a little virtual dinner party action. I think a lot of us are cooking at home more than ever. And, like it or not, we got to get creative. So, why not create a little virtual dinner party with all of your friends? Jordan and I have spoken before this, and he's going to be making a beautiful entree of the chicken variety while I whip up a little salad that's going to pair really nicely with his chicken dish. I've honestly just done a big fridge clean out for this salad right here. We're gonna do some crispy mushrooms, a 6-minute egg that has that jammy center, a fennel and celery salad as well. And we're just gonna toss it all together and make some magic. But just so all of you know, we are live right now. So if you have any questions throughout this live, do not hesitate to ask away. We are happy to answer them. I've got my device right here so that I can answer all of your questions. Jordan also has his Jordan shirt game on point, says Amazon customer. Agreed,
I
Jordan.
see it. Thank you, Amazon customer. Yes, thank
Your
you.
shirt game is on point. I gotta really work on mine. I'm looking very plain today. But yes, and if you look at the products page, Jordan and I have curated a few of our favorite books right now that we are really hyped about, and we're happy to answer any questions regarding those. The best part is they're all available on Kindle version, so you can just download those and have them on your Amazon tablet or on your Kindle, and for easy access, easy inspiration, any time of day without needing to lug a physical book. So Jordan, let's get into it. Tell us a little bit about what you are cooking today.
All right. So I have, I guess my inspiration I took from your salad because I feel that anytime you're making a salad, sometimes let's call it the heavier eaters want something a little more substantive to it to like help round out all the fix-ins. So in this case, I was like, all right, chicken on a salad is great. It's delicious. It's healthy. It mimics all the health kind of vibes of a salad. So I'm going to go with this awesome kind of easy marinated chicken with simple ingredients at home. It only takes 4 things to marinate it, not even using salt. Well, I guess when you cook it, you do, but not in the marinade. And then I'm just going to pair it with some Brussels sprouts and roasted fingerling potatoes. All of it together is a very simple, easy, classic dish. You got your you got your potatoes, your chicken, and your Brussels sprouts, and it also can pair well with a salad as well. You can eat it for lunch, you can eat it for dinner. This is a great way to kind of utilize your at-home virtual dinner parties and hosting because you can have something for lunch and then utilize it again for dinner, then use all the leftovers from dinner and utilize it the next day. So it all kind of fills out in the circle of life that is the kitchen.
I love it. The zero waste lifestyle. I actually have a video on my YouTube channel that's 3 meals with 1 chicken. So we go through, we make the thighs, we make the breasts, and then we take the carcass and make some chicken soup. So that is so real. You can
Nice.
definitely, extend the shelf life or extend the lifespan of any chicken meal that you have on hand. I know that at the end of the day, the main thing that we're trying to do here is get creative without having too many ingredients that we need. So I think what's going to be really fun in this specific, live today is that we're going to really focus on a few fundamental cooking skills, a few basics, if you will, to really build flavor easily and understand how to, open up your refrigerator and get inspired to cook anything, even potentially without a recipe. So Jordan, how about you get things going? My water's up to a boil. I think I'm going to drop my eggs in. I'm going to do a jammy 6-minute egg. I'm going to do that while you start prepping your veg. And then I'm also going to just get my diced mushrooms. I chopped these before because I couldn't help myself. I'm going to get my diced mushrooms on a sheet tray with a little bit of olive oil, some salt and pepper, and I'm going to pop them into the oven at 400 degrees. And these are so small that they're really only going to take between 5 to 7 minutes, I would say. Who knows? It could take even less. We'll see. But Jordan, get cooking. Talk to us while I drop these eggs in.
Let's do it. So the first thing that I gotta say is if you see me looking to my bottom right-hand corner of the screen, it's because I'm trying to see who's engaging with us, who's asking questions. We're live, so I'm trying to check out the live stream as well. So please, if you have questions, comments, or anything, or you want to just chat, please, right here, into my computer, on the bottom right hand of the screen. Okay, moving on. We have a great little recipe here. It's a little bit time consuming just because it takes things times to roast and caramelize and really get the flavors melded together. However, it is simple. Like what you see in front of me, aside from salt and pepper, is all I'm using in this meal. It's delicious and it's easy. So I'm gonna come around the table and give you guys a nice little close-up of this incredible, tasty, delicious, delectable chicken marinade that you could pretty much apply to any meat: fish, chicken, pork, veal, whatever, beef, steak. So here, let me show you. Okay, so hi, welcome. Number one, lemon juice. You can use fresh lemons. You can use just regular ones, or just this, or concentrate, whatever. You want to get that nice acid, tangy bite. Next up, chili paste. Comes in a little bottle, green lid. It's delicious. Looks like that on the base. Yummy. Okay. So that adds a nice little pepper kick, but it's naturally sweet. Next up, you got some thyme. Looks like that. As you can see, I've kind of been using mine a little bit, but here's some thyme for you. And then, last but not least, here's a fun little hack for you at home. See this? This is garlic, pureed in oil, held in the fridge. So what I do is, I buy one of these full of whole peeled garlic, then I cover it with some oil, probably about half of the amount of garlic that's in here, then puree it with like a blender or an immersion blender. And what ends up happening is that it stays. You have pureed garlic ready to use that's fresh, so it has that awesome taste, and it acts as a great marinade because of all the almost spice and kind of like tanginess, acidity that garlic brings. And so this right here is a base that I kind of use in all of my cooking, and I get to keep it at home, and it holds like this for pretty much a week or two, depending on how much you use it and what's going in and out of the fridge. So very simple, very easy. It only takes those four things: lemon, chili paste, like chili sambal paste, thyme, and garlic, and I guess oil, but the oil's kind of in everything already. So, moving back over here, let me get everything kind of marinated. I want to get the marinade started. So what I do is I have this little mixer right here, and I have my hand blender right here. So what's going to happen is I'm just going to throw in about a tablespoon of lemon juice in here, and this is going to cover 2 large 10-ounce chicken breasts that are skinless and boneless. It looks like this right here, kind of your classic chicken breast. I'm going to cut those in half and fillet them so that they don't take as long to cook, and also it extends how many meals I get. So instead of 2 large chicken breasts that kind of may look janky after you eat half of one, you're going to slice it and then give you kind of longer but thinner chicken fillets, and now you have 4 meals instead of just 2. All right, so after this, I'm just going to take a little bit of my fresh minced garlic, and then I'm just going to add 1 heaping tablespoon right in there. So that's it. So simple. But I'm also probably going to use that a little bit later for the Brussels sprouts. All right? Now I'm going to throw in a rough, you can eyeball this, a rough tablespoon of the chili paste. And then last but not least, I'm going to throw in some of this thyme right here. And another fun trick when it comes to thyme, I like to use the stems. It's partial laziness, I'll admit that. However, it also adds a great deal of flavor. So there's different stems that you can and cannot use. I don't know if you can see that, but the kind of woody and stiffer, rooty, gritty stem you obviously can't use to cook with, but that softer, greener, more flimsy, flexible stem, you can go ahead and cut that right up and add that into your marinades or your soups or your stocks or wherever you want to use thyme with. So now that helps us with sorting the thyme, because now we can just sort out and peel off all of the kind of thicker roots and stems when leaving the more flexible ones, instead of having to get each individual leaf, small little leaf of thyme out. So I'm going to take what's going to roughly equate to this right here. And the beauty here is, you know, it can be floral, it can have that awesome herb flavor. So I don't really need it, but if you have to put a measure to this, I would say I'm putting in about half a tablespoon of roughly chopped thyme. All right. Next, once it's done, I'm just going to take that and put it into this little blend holder thingy. It came with this hand blender. It's an immersion blender. It's great because instead of dirtying up and having a big bulky blender on your countertop, you can just go straight in with this and then dial it in. Next up, throwing in some olive oil, actually vegetable oil, probably about a third of a cup. And then I'm just going to blend away, and you're going to see it's going to come up to this nice orange hue. And this is exactly what you want. Because as you can see, you just know that flavor's being built. It has that nice spice, but because of the oil and all the other elements to it, the chicken's just going to soak it in. It won't be too spicy, but it'll have this awesome, almost crust on the outside of the chicken that really bodes well for any topping of a salad or even just as its own dish. Just saute the chicken and just have it there. It also works as well as marinating the chicken, sauteing it, and then adding that to a pasta or a rice dish as well. This is just a really good flavor base, gotta say. Okay, so there you have it. Here's my mixing bowl. So what I'm gonna do first is I'm gonna make sure my oven, which I already turned on before we came on, is at 475 degrees Fahrenheit. That's done. Next up, I'm going to take my chicken breast. I'm gonna show you guys how to cut it, fillet it. Elena, how you doing over there? Sorry, I've been talking so much.
I'm doing great, Jordan. We have an Amazon customer is wondering where you got that chili paste. Isn't that technically sambal leek, right?
Yeah, so it's sambal chili paste. It's a chunky garlic chili paste, and you can find it at most markets. They definitely will have them at specialty markets. It may not be the same brand with the gold and then the green top. However, they definitely have like a sambal garlic chili paste around now. Thank goodness that Asian cooking is getting, more, actually not getting it, it's become such a mainstay in American households that you can find these kind of ingredients pretty much everywhere. I'm not going to say in every grocery store. However, they do have them in the large metropolitan areas and definitely in specialty markets.
And they also have it on Amazon, so you can order it on Amazon. I actually just ordered some the other day on Amazon. Oh, there's my timer. My eggs are ready. Whenever you are boiling any eggs, what I love to do is just have an ice bath ready to rock on the side over here. So I'm just going to take a slotted spoon and lift these bad boys out. I went with a soft center here, so a set white, but a soft yolk. I think that's just going to add a nice additional level of creaminess in this dish. And I decided to go with 4 here, just so that we can serve 4 people and everyone gets their own egg. So this is just going to hang out on the side. And I'm starting to thinly slice up some rhubarb, Jordan, that I'm going to do a light pickle on. My mushrooms are in the oven right now, so what I'm doing is I'm just rocking my knife back and forth. These are extremely thin, like so thin that you can actually see through them almost. But what I like about rhubarb is it's in season right now. It has a nice tang and a nice fruitiness, but the thing that's interesting about it is a lot of people think rhubarb and they think sweet. They think rhubarb preserves, they think baking it in a pie. But the truth is rhubarb is actually a vegetable and it pairs super well with tons of savory foods. So what I like to do here is if I cut it really thin, and then we're gonna put it into a little pickling liquid that's gonna be a combination of white balsamic vinegar, a little salt, some granulated sugar, and some water. And we're just gonna let it hang out. The color is going to develop even more so we get a nice bright pink. And it should be pretty delicious as like a little added crunch in our salad here. Jordan, how is everything hanging out over there? Let's see if we have any other questions. We don't have any yet. Hopefully we'll get a few more soon.
Well, I have a question for you. Have you hosted any virtual dinner parties lately?
Jordan, I have not. I did actually, that's not true. I did a cooking class for some of my friends from grade school. and also high school. These are ladies that I've known since we were 4 years old. It was 9 of us, and we
Nice.
made a really easy chicken piccata dish. And it was really fun. A lot of them are not super familiar with cooking, so it was fun for me to be able to, teach them a thing or two about what I do for a living, which was really great. And then separately, I've been doing some Instagram live stream cooking things. I'm actually going to be live tomorrow on the feed with Jake Cohen to promote the cookbook that I wrote. So we will be making a dish from the cookbook that I wrote.
Nice. Well, that's fun. Yeah, I found that as people are cooking more at home, we need to kind of adapt to this different environment. So what I did was I went out and started this little company that has it's called Maison Dance, spelled in a fancy way, MaisonDanse, and
Okay.
and it's fun because it's kind of like bringing a dinner party and DJ to your house. So a good DJ friend of mine
Ooh.
and we set it up, and it's great because now that's actually what I'm doing after this. I'm going to be cooking a 7-course meal, and we're going to be delivering it over with instructions on how to make it look all fancy and nice and cool, and it's going to be fun. And what I love about these kind of times is that, especially with like a virtual cooking demo as we're doing right now, we can give people fun little hints and ways, and let's call it hacks, to make your home feel a little bit different than it normally does. So if there's one that I got to give right now that I found works really well in hosting these virtual dinner parties, it's dressing up, and it's something that's so easy, and you kind of don't really think about it, but it's like you're in the comfort of your home. You're going to be wearing shorts, sweats, tank tops, and just kind of being comfortable, right? But it's funny how you just get dressed up, do your hair, wear a nice shirt, and all of a sudden it just feels like a different night. It feels like a different place. So if you're hosting your own virtual dinner party, that's a nice, fun, easy first step.
It really is wild what getting dressed up can do. I mean, we just there was a virtual. I did the earlier in the month, actually not even earlier in the month, last month. What is time even? We
Yeah,
did
what
a
is
little
time? No, seriously, what is time though?
a little virtual Passover. We all got dressed up and we did a Zoom chat with everyone, and it was really nice because typically, I'm spend the high holidays with my fiance and his family, and we still made sure to celebrate with him. So it was really nice. So currently, what I'm doing is made a really easy little pickling liquid. So I took white balsamic, I took some salt, some sugar, and a little bit of water, and I'm just adding this rhubarb to the cup that has the pickling liquid. And this is just going to bring out some of that natural sweetness and mellow out the tart tanginess of this rhubarb here. So we're just going to let this hang out on the side while I prep all of our other ingredients. You just want to make sure that whatever pickling liquid you do make, that it just covers the veg that you are quick pickling. So there you go. Can you see it? There it is.
That looks good.
In a little. Thank you. And then I'm actually at some point going to make a dressing for this salad. I have some mint that's looking really sad and crispy, so I'm gonna chop that up and put it into the dressing with some Dijon. I'm actually going to chop up some cashews in the dressing as well, so it has more of a creamy consistency because we have a lot of freshness going on in here. And I want to, contrast it with a dressing that feels a little bit more indulgent without it actually being unhealthy. So that should be fun. I will get to that in a second, but my mushrooms are still going. I'm going to start working on all of my other veg. Jordan, what are you currently working on right now? Talk to me.
So right now I have all of my Brussels sprouts. They've been cut in half. I have my pureed garlic waiting to marinate them. I have a tablespoon and a half of unsalted butter going with my fingerling potatoes. My stovetop pan is getting nice and hot. Now something at home for all you home cooks out there watching, try to use, whenever you're cooking savory, try to use unsalted butter. A lot of people always ask, the difference, salted, unsalted. I would say unsalted is great with baking because you need that kind of base end of sodium to help bring out some of those other fruity, lemon, tart flavors. However, when you're cooking savory, you want to season and know how much salt and sodium you're adding to the dish. So I would definitely recommend unsalted butter in that case. And a fun way to kind of pick up potatoes with butter is I'm gonna have my pan here. It's gonna get hot, and you're gonna notice I'm just gonna leave it super hot without touching it at all. Now, a lot of people are like, wait, it's gonna explode or like catch fire. Not at all. It's safe. Don't worry. I know a lot of people get scared at home about things being too hot, but that's the reason why chefs make such amazing food, because we utilize the heat and capture the essence of that heat and apply it to the food properly. We're trained to do that. Fun other hack for you guys at home. This right here is what everyone knows is aluminum foil, right? Tin foil, okay? Here's what's gonna happen. This right here is gonna kind of, when I hit the potatoes and then the garlic, it's all gonna splatter and saute, and then all of that moisture and steam that's releasing will carry particles of grease and spread them throughout your apartment. That's why things like this kind of get greasy, and your cupboards might get a little like weird orange, yellowy, like white, off-white hue. It's not, you won't notice it right away, but you'll definitely notice it if you're cooking as much as we all are at home right now. So a fun little hack to kind of alleviate and help your cabinets and the aesthetic of your home is some tin foil. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to measure the outside of the pan like so, just so it almost covers it fully. So just this sheet right here will do. And now you might be wondering why not just use a lid. So here's the thing: a lid will capture too much steam, and thus it won't help caramelize and get that mired browning, which is the reaction where the sugars turn light golden brown to really develop flavor in food. So this loose fitting tin foil just helps to cover the splatter without having to worry about a lid and without really compromising the integrity of the dish. And then the ease of it is just you kind of just toss it up, throw it away when you're done. So I'm gonna apply that right now. I have this going nice and hot for about a minute. Take my butter, you're gonna hear it sizzle for a second. It's gonna go, there you go. And already you can kind of see some of that steam releasing. Unfortunately, we can't do anything about that right away just because we gotta add our our potatoes. And there you go. So I'm just gonna add my potatoes directly to the pan. Throw in some salt and pepper. I like to really get a good liberal seasoning on my potatoes just because potatoes don't have a lot of natural flavor. You want to bring, that's why like salt really works well with fries. So in this case, I'm gonna hit it with some salt, fresh cracked black pepper, give it a nice little toss. And I'm gonna develop some of these flavors right here, right in the pan. Elena, what's up?
I love it. So Xander, or excuse me, not Xander. Xander's over there. I just called you Xander. LOL. I call my brother Xander sometimes, and then I call Xander my brother's name sometimes. You know, the men in my life. Jordan, you're one of them. Okay, we have an Amazon customer asking, "What kind of potatoes are you using, Jordan?"
Great question. So I'm using right here the leftovers of them. These are called fingerling potatoes, which are little baby, like they're called fingerlings because they look like that. They look like a finger.
They look like a finger.
And they're delicious. And what I like is that they look great on a plate. They pair well with a lot of different foods. You can have your potatoes in a little bit more of an elevated fashion instead of kind of having to hack and peel. We kind of use these whole, cut them in half just to let's diminish the cooking time a little bit. But they're great, and I swear by them. Fingerling potatoes, y'all. And I see another one here, another Amazon customer asking, Elena, what's your favorite go-to comfort food? We all need some comfort food these days. I agree.
Oh man, I just love a big bowl of spaghetti. Any type of pasta, I would say rigatoni alla vodka is definitely a comfort food for me these days. I think it's just such a delicious, rich meal that just gives me a warm, cozy hug whenever I take a bite out of it. I've been doing a lot of pastry work lately, a lot of bread baking, a lot of cookie making. Anything that involves a carb. I was just saying earlier that I am a carb. So that's why I decided to make a healthier salad today because, to be honest, I've really just been eating all the carbs in the world. And that's okay. But sometimes we have to counteract that with a little celery, fennel, and herb salad, as you can see right below here in this lower third. So that is probably mine. Jordan, what about you? What is your go-to comfort food?
I gotta say, my comfort food, I'm gonna have to bring back to my country, and I gotta say, I love me a good like Filipino meal, cooked by my grandmother or inspired by my grandmother. I just like to, I like to know that when I'm eating it, it kind of reminds me of childhood, and I feel that that's what comfort food really is. It's that like it's that nostalgic bite that you take. That remember in Ratatouille when Ego or Anton Ego, the food critic, took a bite of the ratatouille and got sent back to childhood when his mother helped him from the bullies. Like that's comfort food to me. So whenever I get asked that question, comfort food, I'm just like, all right, my Lola, which means grandmother in Tagalog, uh, please, like feed me, give me something, and you just feel like your insides are being hugged with love. So hey, Filipino guys, long answer, Filipino.
I hear you. Making dishes that your loved ones used to make for you, I think, really does make you feel taken care of. It's amazing what food can do to the soul, and it can bring back really, really vivid memories. Mine have to do with, my grandmother. She used to make really amazing desserts, and I just made her snowball cookies the other day, her no bake cluster cookies. I made them actually on Amazon the other day. My mom does really amazing Swiss steak. We do a lot of barbecued stuff in my house growing up. So having any of those foods that, just bring back that memory of childhood when, I used to not know how to cook, and my family, my parents, my grandparents would be the ones making the food for me. So I completely hear you on that. That's a beautiful memory. Um, okay, I'm just sliced up all of my salad, my fennel. I'm also going to slice up some scallions. I still have to peel my eggs and make my dressing, but I want to quickly just take a second and check on my mushrooms, make sure they are not overcooking and that they're looking good. Okay, look at how small they've become. Mushrooms really just shrink. I'm going to take a little bite. These are ready, so I'm going to let them hang out back here. I'm probably just going to hit them with a little bit of lemon juice to brighten them up. But you also don't need to do that because we are going to add it to our salad at the end. So it's not entirely necessary. It's going to get that vinegar at the end. So you know what? I'm actually just going to leave them. I'm not going to add any lemon juice yet. So the things that I have left to add to my salad are, I have these scallion tops. For those of you that don't know yet, I gotta share this tip with all of you. My favorite thing of late has been regrowing. So what I will do is I'll get my scallions, or I'll even get lettuce. You could do this with fennel as well. And you put it into a glass of room temperature water and set it by the windowsill. And what's going to happen is it's actually going to regrow. So I chopped these tops off, and then a couple days later, they started sprouting back up. So you can actually get 3 times the amount of use in one bundle of scallions with this thing. So highly recommend. I don't know why I wasn't doing this sooner. I don't know why I had to figure this out now. What have I been waiting for, Jordan?
Everyone has been. I've been seeing that a lot on social media, and it totally makes sense. I agree with you. I can't believe I haven't been doing that sooner.
I know, it's such a good hack. And you can do it with
Sorry,
lettuce.
I
You
was
could do
so
it with
intrigued.
fennel.
I had to get the close up and watch what you were
Oh,
doing.
I respect it. Now I'm seeing her flawless skin. It's fantastic. Well,
Okay,
for
so here's what's
everyone that,
happening right now.
yeah, tell us. Give
Oh,
us an update. What's
okay,
happening?
so I have my chicken searing right now. I have my tinfoil cover so that all the grease doesn't disperse amongst my entire apartment. And what's going to happen is that I'm going to sear it on both sides for about a minute on each side. Get a nice, hard, deep brown caramelization. And I'm going to roast everything on my pan. So back to you, Elena. I'm just giving you a quick update.
Woo! I love it. I love the update. Oh my goodness, Ty just said that he has been regrowing, or he or she has been regrowing their produce as well and saving so much money. It really is amazing how much money you can save if you just, you know, get a little creative and inventive in the kitchen. Okay, so I just sliced up all of these scallion tops. The only thing I'm not going to use on the scallion tops are these little bits that have gotten a little dry. And I think it now is probably a good time for me to start working and rocking and rolling on my salad dressing. So what I like to do here, is I'm going to combine, every time you make a salad dressing, you want to think about playing it safe. And when I say safe, I don't necessarily mean boring. I mean 4 things. Seasoning, so that has to do with salt or pepper. Acid, that is vinegar or lemon juice, lime juice, any citrus juice that you have on hand. F stands for fat, which is our oil that we're going to be adding in. And E stands for our emulsifier. So our emulsifier is something that helps add flavor, but also helps the oil and vinegar stick together, because oil and vinegar, they don't mix, they don't want to stick together. So the emulsifier is there to help everyone hang out and be pals and, you know, stick to the best of their ability. So today, my emulsifier is Dijon and cashews, which I have in this cute little baggie. These are roasted salted cashews, and we are just going to, and also my herbs are going to act as an emulsifier as well. So I have some mint that I've chopped up that I'm going to add to my high-speed blender. You could also do this in a food processor. You could do this with an immersion blender, similar to what Jordan did. And then I'm going to add in my Dijon mustard. I'm not really measuring here, but anytime you make a dressing, you always want to think about having, people say 3-to-1 ratio, 3 fat to 1 acid. I'm a 2-to-1 gal. I like when dressings are really bright and acidic, so I typically do 2-to-1. I have this big lemon here, and I'm just taking a rasp grater, also known as a microplane, and I am just running the outside of my lemon on this fine grater. And the lemon zest, it holds all the oils. So that is what gives us our really delish lemony flavor. The white part, that is the pith. It's a little bit bitter, but we do want all of the yellow part. So I'm stopping once I get to the white part. And then we're going to roll this lemon between the palm of our hand just to release any extra juices that are tight in that lemon. Because every lemon's different. I mean, some are a little softer and easier to get all the juice out. Some feel a little bit harder. So the way that I like to avoid missing out on all that juice is just by taking a lemon and rolling it back and forth between the palm of my hand. Okay, great. I'll just slice that lemon in half. And then I'm going to take my citrus, because I don't hand squeezing them. Just going.
Elena, what is the acronym that you use?
Safe. Salt.
Faith?
Excuse me, seasonal acid fat emulsifier.
Wait, say it one more time.
Safe. Seasoning acid fat emulsifier.
Oh.
We want to play it safe, but not in a way.
I definitely do that, but I don't realize that it could have turned into an acronym like that. That's genius. Did you learn that at culinary school?
I actually came up with it last summer. I was in production for my Besser's Basics series on YouTube, and I was working with my videographer, and she and I were sitting at lunch, and we were like, what could we call? It would be easy if we could come up with some type of acronym, because those are the 4 components. What could we do? And all of a sudden, she goes, I was like, what are you talking about? She goes, safe. Seasoning, acid, fat, emulsifier. So TM
That's really good.
Julia, she crushed it with that one. And that's what I use. And it's on I have a whole series, my Besser's Basic series on YouTube. We go through everything involving making a great dressing. And we talk about playing it safe for salad dressing and the components there. So I just live by that rule for every single thing that I do. Okay, so here we go.
It's a great rule.
We've got our fruits, we've got our cat roasted sausages, our lemon zest, a little bit of Dijon, and then I'm actually just going to add in a little bit of white balsamic because that is what we did that cooked pickle for the roux in. And I like white balsamic because it has a natural sweetness to it. And we are going to I'm going to actually take a couple more leaves of mint because might as well use it all. I've got it and it's on its last legs. So I would rather just finish it off right now. We're going to add this all to the blender. I have a Vitamix. I'm obsessed. I love it like it's my child. I don't have children, but I imagine the look is similar, Jordan. And we are just going to add this.
I'm just watching now. All my food's in the oven, so you have me as I'm an audience member now.
You're such a supportive fan. It really means a lot. Okay, so we're going to turn this on, and we're just going to start things off to make sure it's now we're cooking, and we're just going to blend this up. Great. That happened much quicker than I ever imagined it would happen. Okay, great. Ooh, it smells so good. I'm just going to take my spatula. You want to be careful if you have a Vitamix because the blades are really sharp. That's one of the things that I like about the BlendTech blender is that the blades are actually dull. So if you put a rubber spatula in there, you're far less likely to run into any issues. I want to put a few more cashews in. I only did about 1/4 cup. And to be honest, I want there to be even more creaminess. So I'm just going to take another handful of cashews here and put them in. I know it seems weird to do like a savory nut-based dressing, but it works really well. I actually learned this the other week. I made an almond-based dressing with this company called the Culinistas for chicken salad, and it like blew my mind. So I wanted to recreate that today. So now that
Elena,
this is nice, yeah.
I found so that's funny that you throwing the cashews in there because when I was cooking for this amazing client and now good friend of mine, she wanted to go on this like specific diet, and one of which part of the diet was using no fat and no sugar in their meals. But sorry, no like processed sugar and no processed fat. So in order for me to make her salad dressings, she showed me this recipe which I still use to this day, and it's crazy because it practices the whole safe element but without the traditional elements of it. So it's cashews, balsamic, not white balsamic, but you can use either, Dijon mustard, water, and that's it. And it's just you don't need salt. You don't. Yeah.
There's no oil in it. It's
no
literally
oil, water. It's crazy, and you do it in a Vitamix like that. It just emulsifies it. It's this creamy, thick, just awesome dressing, and it's so healthy for you. Dijon, balsamic, water, cashews. That's it.
Now I'm tempted to add water into my dressing, Jordan. It isn't too late. Should I add water instead?
I mean, just try it. Like it really does work. I promise.
Okay, I'm gonna add a little bit of water in, but I might. If I add oil, then it will break, won't it? Because it'll.
No, I mean that's the thing. The cashew and the Dijon together act as a double emulsifier.
Okay, so I added a little water in. This is fun. We're experimenting here. Okay, I'm just gonna turn this back on. We'll get the blending going a little bit more. I added a little bit of water, and now I'm just gonna add in covering it because I don't want it to splatter in my face. There, it's starting
It's crazy,
to happen.
but it works. Believe me, Elena, the first time that she told me about it, I went crazy. I was like, "There's no way that this is gonna work. There's no way it's gonna taste good." And she goes, "Jordan, I've started this diet, and you're gonna help me as my personal chef to do this." I was just going there once or twice a week. Let me tell you, it is some of the best dressings that I've ever had, and I use it to this day in restaurants for paid customers. No salt, no sugars. That's the craziest part about it, and no oil.
Was this before or after you were the Kardashians' private chef?
This was. I love how somehow that always seems to find me. And it's weird because like it's now 5 years removed. Okay, so to answer your question, it was right around the same time, and
Got it. So
and it's just
for
crazy
all we
because
know,
like
you could be talking about Kourtney Kardashian.
it was pretty wild. It was a wild time. I gotta say, but it was fun.
I love it. So this dressing is looking beautiful. Look at that. Super creamy.
Oh yeah.
No
That looks
cream
great.
at all, baby. It should be good. And the water was a great tip. I cut down on the oil. You know, Jordan, you are inspiring me to be healthy. I don't know if I'm going to start working out as frequently as you do. I know you typically do 2-a-days. I don't think I can do that part of it, but I am happy to integrate water into my dressing.
That's a great substitute for working out. I swear, I actually truly believe that. Eat healthier and you don't have to work out as much. But here's the thing: I only work out once, twice, sometimes 3 times a day, just so that I can eat as much food, good and bad, as I want. That's the only reason why. Like I ran. It's in 12 days in May. I ran 50 miles, and I only really did it so that I could burn more calories to eat more great, tasty, delectable food.
Excuse me, sir. You are nuts. 50 miles in 12 days? What in the world?
I know it was bizarre. It was part of this Nike run challenge that I'm part of, and there was 50 of us on there. Some guy who he helps to train marathoners. He ran it in 3 days, 50 miles in 3 days. Like why? Why
Shut
even?
the front door with that one. That is crazy. Respect, though.
Absurd.
Honestly,
Absurd. Elena, wait, hold on. I want to show you something. Ready? Dun,
yeah, I'm ready.
Dun, 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 dun,
Oh
dun,
my
dun,
lord,
dun.
that looks stunning. Look at
So,
you.
for everyone that's just tuning in or watching, we're doing this for having a fun, easy kind of virtual hosting dinner party and how you can make things easier while you're cooking at home more frequently. So, what I like to do is I like to have everything kind of just throw it onto a pan or onto a roasting tray, throw it in the oven, and it all comes out at the same time as long as you apply the heat differently before it goes into the oven. So these ones I seared, these Brussels I just lightly kissed on the saute pan, and then these potatoes I really applied a lot of heat to it. Say again?
You picked each one up individually and you gave each one a smooch and then you put them on. That's what you mean by kissing them?
That is correct. That's exactly what I did. So, as you can see, it all went in the oven at the same time, comes out, and now your meal is 100% complete, and now we just have to make it look pretty.
So smart. I think that's such a great tip. A lot of the time, we do not like getting multiple pans dirty if we can avoid it. I mean, we're already cooking every day. So the truth is, let's keep it as clean as possible and not get a ton of things dirty. And I really love that tip, Jordan, because if you time stuff out properly, you can really just stick to only using one specific pan, which I really love. So I just sliced up some radish on a mandolin, which is a Japanese slicer. The reason why I like using a mandolin for radish is because I like keeping the integrity of the round shape of the radish, and it's a lot harder to balance it when you are just slicing it with a knife. If you want, though, you could cut it in half to get a flat side to make it a lot easier. So in front of us, we have the following stuff. We've got our dressing, which I've put at the bottom of the bowl here. Every time you're dressing a salad, you always want to put the dressing at the bottom of the bowl. The reason why is because you'll start with a little bit less because you can't take out. You can always add more. But I find that it's much easier to get full coverage of all of your different components of your salad if you put the dressing at the bottom of the bowl. So what I'm going to add now, I'm going to add in my fennel. I'm going to add in my celery. We're going to add the radishes, the scallions, and then I'm just gonna pack this baby with tons and tons of herbs. But this is so gorge. I still have to crack open those eggs, which I will do in a moment. But we just want to make sure that everybody is added to the party. All these beautiful scallion tops, delish. And then we can't forget about the pickled rhubarb. Look at that. Just want to pick that up, give it a taste. So nice. All that really tart, overpowering flavor has now been eliminated because of the sugar that we added to the pickling liquid. You can actually save this pickling liquid and you could use it in your next dressing. And it has a really beautiful light pink, which I really love. But save it, don't throw it away. And then we're just gonna add in some of our other herbs that we have here. I'm gonna pick off some cilantro leaves with tender stems. You can eat the stems of both cilantro and parsley. I know Jordan earlier was talking about how he loves eating the stems of thyme as well. He doesn't necessarily, he doesn't feel the need to pick all those leaves off. I mean, the stems are delish. They have so much flavor, especially if they're nice and tender. You know, there's no point in not using them. Just make your life as easy as possible and just pull off the herbs with the stems still attached. So I've added all this stuff together. I always like salting. Are you part of salting your salad? Are you in that camp, or are you in the camp of dress the salad and salt it at the end?
I like to season no matter what I'm making as I go. So I would personally say season the dressing, season the whatever accoutrement you're putting in and on top of the salad, and then season the salad itself. Obviously lightly, but yes, I think every layer should be seasoned.
I am happy that you agree with me because I am all about salting your salad. People think, why in the world would you salt your salad? But the truth is, the salt actually awakens all the different complex flavors of every single individual piece of produce that you put in your salad. So what happens is, as the salt hits the produce, it's going to actually open up the cell structure of that produce and help it taste more like what it's supposed to taste like. So I always like salt hitting the whole salad with a little bit of salt before, and then I just start giving it a nice toss-a-roo. And
toss-a-roo? Give it a toss-a-roo.
A toss-a-roo. It's a technical term, Jordan.
Let me see. What I love about watching you is, I love watching your salads because they always look so like bountiful, like a cornucopia of vegetable and color. It just looks so tasty.
That really means a lot. Talk to me about your situation over there because it looks like you started plating, and I want to hear how it went. Walk us through.
Well, everything's done. Everything's done on my end. The whole thing here is it's an easy chicken dinner. You know, I feel like the stigma behind chicken is that people always are just, oh, it's just plain chicken, or people may feel that it's a throwaway meal, or you're feeling lazy so you'll cook chicken. But there's ways that you can make a chicken dinner that's super easy, but really tasty at the same time. So you don't have to go overboard and you don't have to feel like it's a throwaway meal because let's be honest, we're making what, up to 21 meals a day in our houses now. So here's the thing. What you got to do is you don't even need a sauce to keep it a little bit healthy. And it's very simple here. You just have your Brussels sprouts, you have your potatoes,
That's cool.
and then you have your seared chicken. And if you want to be fancy, so here's another tip for hosting virtual parties, or if, for that matter, if you want to take like a nice dish in terms of like social media, whenever you cut chicken, don't just cut it straight up and down. Put it, cut it on a bias. I don't know if you can see that, but if you can look right here, it's cut a little bit on an angle. Right there, there you go. You can kind of see it's a little bit on an angle. So when you cut it on an
Yes,
angle, it just makes it a little bit more fancy.
yeah,
And
cutting it
it's
on
just, it's
diagonal.
super, yeah, bias, diagonal, make the cuts count. And in this case, it's just super simple. You don't need a sauce with it because, you know, this is kind of a light, easy, quick meal that you can then repurpose on top of a salad. Tell me about your salad. Oh, look at that
Hey,
segue.
salad
Oh.
season. Okay, yeah, so what I did is I tossed everything together. It's looking really nice. And then what I actually did afterwards is I took a damp paper towel and I just wiped along the edges of the bowl. This is another like food photography hack is if you wipe the edges of the bowl, it's going to just look so much more attractive rather than having dressing all over the sides of the bowl. A lot of the
Yes.
times at
Preach.
restaurants, they actually dress the salad in a separate bowl and then put the salad in a new bowl that it looks as clean and beautiful as possible. And in retrospect, I would have done that, but you know, we had our little hack here, so we made it work. And what I like to do at the end is just to make it look even more attractive, I'll take a few more leaves that aren't dressed and I'll top those on the salad here so that they just, you know, remind everyone that we've got some greenery going in here. Any of those herbs that have been hidden away because they're now dressed, we're saying, don't worry, they're still here. We're letting the consumer know what they are eating. And then I also really love just taking my squeeze bottle and just giving the whole thing a little sheen of olive oil. So there you go. Here is my salad. I'm going to get to cracking these eggs,
Yummy.
but I want to hear, because we can't forget the eggs, but I want to hear how yours tastes. I want to hear about what your thoughts are on the final product. Hit me.
So, well, I want to talk about your dish because yours looks just so tasty, and I love the egg trick here. Now, do you know? Are you familiar with the egg trick where you poke a hole on the top and bottom on the long end on the tall ends of the egg, blow it, and literally it comes out the other side? Have you seen that?
What? No.
Yeah. So, okay, if you have like a skewer, right, or don't do it, or maybe you can even try it now. It's really, it can get messy, but if you have like a sharp edge, like say just take the pinpoint of a scissor, just one side, like on a sharp scissor, poke
Are
a
those
hole on
Joyce
Joyce Chen's, always, always,
Joyce
baby, yeah.
What an icon.
So what you do
I have
is you poke a hole. Actually, I have an egg here. It's not boiled though. And what you do is you poke a hole on the tall end of both sides, so not the
okay.
shorter ends, the long ends, and you literally just go like this, and you blow it. The whole egg will pop out of the bottom.
You're not punking me, right?
I, I swear. Okay, no. Here's the thing. I'm not telling you to try it now, although I think it would be hilarious for everyone watching if you did. But I've done it. It works. It's crazy.
So it just made,
So
do
you
you
want
do
to try
that
it?
whenever you have to do large quantities of boiled eggs for catering and things like that?
Imagine like trying to peel large quantities. You poke a hole and you just pass it to the next person.
Yeah, that's a great assembly line. I love it. I love it. So I'm gonna try that for sure, and I'm gonna do it off camera so that I don't fully embarrass myself if it doesn't go well. But I typically, whenever I crack eggs, what I'll do is I'll just make sure that they've had enough time in the cold water so that the white can start pulling back from the shell to make sure that it's as
Yep.
clean as possible. And then I like tapping that egg all over a flat surface just to make sure we have enough cracks. And once I get going on one piece of it and I have enough visible and out in the open, what I'll do is I'll take a small spoon and I will just very delicately run the spoon along the edge of the shell in the space
Oh, wow.
white, and look at how easily it starts coming off.
I've never
So
seen that.
that's my hack. See, ready for this? Here we go. Hold on, we're almost there. Look at that. Easy peasy. Comes
That's
right off.
pretty good.
Pretty
Elena,
good.
Elena dropping knowledge today. I love it. I mean, I only had what, the one pan chicken and then a fun marinade. Like you're dropping knowledge and dimes right now. I love it.
Oh, please, Jordan. You just gave us a great egg tip. You're the one that encouraged me to put the water in my dressing. I mean, come on. Okay, let's slice through this egg. See what the, yes, baby.
How's the yolk? Let me see the yolk. Let me see that yolk. Oh, perfect. That's literally
She's
the
good.
perfect egg. It's
And we'll
perfect.
just nestle it right on top of the salad, and I'm gonna eat this whole thing by myself. No, I'm kidding. I'll share. It's fine. I won't eat it by myself. So yeah, just finish peeling the rest of your eggs. Top them on each individual portion for whoever you are serving at home. And by the way, before we leave, um, we before we leave, let's just quickly discuss the books that we put in the carousel, Jordan. And I'm gonna taste my salad while we you go first.
So
Tell us about your books.
I have 3 books in the carousel if you're watching right now. The 3 books are The Omnivore's Dilemma, French Laundry Cookbook, and Chop Chop. Now, all 3 span the entirety of the cooking world and gastronomic genre. However, each one hits a very unique and different segment within the culinary world. So, number 1, Omnivore's Dilemma, great thought-provoking book that is such a fun read, if anything, and it's broken down to 3 sections about how you eat, and where the food comes from. And so I love kind of Michael Pollan's view and outlook and disposition on that. Next is the French Laundry Cookbook. I was fortunate enough to work there at the French Laundry at the tail end of its heyday, and let me tell you, it was quite an experience. The food, the culture, the respect, the admiration, adulation that just runs through that restaurant is unforgettable. And that cookbook is something that I swear by. My pasta recipe, agnolotti, sauces, demi-glaces, any way of working a foie gras, everything comes from that cookbook. It's like Thomas Keller is a genius that I don't know if it'll ever be replicated. And then next, but last but not least, Chop Chop. It's a book by Simon Rowe. It's a fictional story about a kitchen, but boy does it tell it incredibly. It's so focused and accurate. And it like you can tell that the actor, or sorry, not actor, the author, Simon Rowe, truly he must have worked in a kitchen because the way he goes into detail about everything was just so on point and reminiscent of those kitchen times. So definitely pick up all 3, not even just one of those 3, all 3 if you are a gastrophile and you enjoy cooking as much as we do. Elena, what are the 3 you got?
I love it. So I have Family Meal, which is recipes from our community. This is a COVID relief cookbook with tons of different food personalities, chefs, restaurants all over the country. All of the proceeds are going to restaurant relief funds. I am inspired by all of the cookbooks that are out there right now. I actually just wrote a cookbook. It's available for pre-order. It's called On the Line, and it is recipes from from 30 line cooks from the best restaurants all over the country, and all of the proceeds go to restaurant relief funds. It's called On the Line. You can pre-order it at thelineupdinner.com. I'll also have it in my social media at Elena Besser. The other one that I have is Eating Out Loud. This is my friend Eden Grinchpan's new book that is available for pre-order. It's coming out in September. It's all about fun, fresh, creative, healthy, but also delicious Middle Eastern cuisine. And then, so definitely pre-order that now if you can. And then last but certainly not least, Jamie Oliver, 5 ingredients, quick and easy food. I know sometimes we're just tired of cooking, so we want stuff that still has a ton of flavor, but isn't a ton of but isn't a ton of ingredients. So definitely check that one out. Jamie Oliver, he is such a legend and has a lot of great knowledge to share. This has been awesome, Jordan. I've loved cooking with you. I'm just over here finishing peeling these eggs. If any of you have any other questions, feel free to hit us up on social media. Make sure to follow our handles right below. Mine's at Elena Besser. Jordan's is at Fork Knife. And Jordan, good luck with that dinner that you are meal prepping for after this. You're going to be great. If any of you have any questions, just hit us up. Be sure to follow Amazon Live for updates on all of the live streams that are going to be happening. There are tons and tons, endless fun. And we'll see you later. Thanks, Jordan. I'll miss you.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Lena. Take care, everyone.